Jagdish Gond versus State of Chhattisgarh, a fight for justice. In the pursuit of justice, the scales of law often weigh complex narratives, scrutinizing every detail to uncover the truth. Today, we delve into a poignant case that reached the highest court of India, a case that questions assumptions, examines evidence, and ultimately reaffirms the sanctity of due process. This is the story of Jagdish Gond versus the state of Chhattisgarh and others. The case, decided by the Supreme Court of India on 7th April 2025, centered around the tragic death of a young woman just 2 years into her marriage. Initially recorded as a sudden and unnatural death, the events that unfolded cast a shadow of suspicion, leading to a husband's arrest and a legal battle that traversed the lower courts. Jagdish Gond, the deceased's husband, found his wife lifeless in their home upon returning from work. He promptly informed the police and his parents. An initial inquest noted a ligature mark, but no immediate foul play was suspected. However, 5 days later, the deceased's father filed a complaint, triggering an FIR and the arrest of Jagdish and his parents. They were charged with serious offences, including abetment to suicide and murder. The trial court, after examining the evidence, acquitted all the accused, concluding that the death was likely a suicide, citing a lack of conclusive evidence pointing towards homicide. But the story didn't end there. The state appealed to the High Court, which, while upholding the acquittal of Jagdish's in-laws, overturned the trial court's decision regarding Jagdish himself. The High Court convicted him of murder, sentencing him to life imprisonment. Their primary reasoning? Jagdish's failure to adequately explain his wife's death under Section 106 of the Indian Evidence Act and their disbelief in his alibi of being at work. This brings us to the crucial questions that reached the Supreme Court. Did the High Court err in reversing the trial court's acquittal? Had the prosecution truly established that the death was a homicide and that Jagdish was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt? And were Jagdish's alibi and explanation sufficient to exonerate him? Justices Sudhanshu Dhulia and K. Vinod Chandran meticulously analyzed the case, drawing upon established legal principles and precedents. Their judgment delivered a significant verdict. The Supreme Court allowed Jagdish Gond's appeal, setting aside the High Court's conviction and reinstating the trial court's original acquittal. The Apex Court emphasized that a reversal of an acquittal requires a clear finding of perversity or manifest illegality in the trial court's judgment. In this case, the trial court's view was deemed plausible, reinforcing the fundamental presumption of innocence. A critical aspect of the Supreme Court's reasoning centered on the medical evidence. The post-mortem report, while noting a ligature mark, did not definitively conclude strangulation or homicide. The doctor's testimony was inconclusive, supporting the trial court's finding that the death could have been a suicide. The Supreme Court also addressed the High Court's application of Section 106 of the Indian Evidence Act. The Apex Court clarified that this section, which requires an accused to explain facts within their special knowledge, only comes into play once the prosecution has established a prima facie case against the accused. Here, Jagdish's initial statement to the police, corroborated by the village kotwar, placed him at work, an alibi the prosecution failed to disprove. The court distinguished this case from precedents like Trimukh Maroti Kirkan, where the unexplained death occurred in circumstances strongly suggesting the accused's involvement. Furthermore, the Supreme Court highlighted the lack of a conclusive chain of circumstantial evidence pointing solely to Jagdish's guilt and excluding the possibility of suicide. The allegations of cruelty and abetment to suicide remained unsubstantiated. The delay in filing the complaint by the deceased's father, without any initial suspicion of homicide, also raised questions about its credibility. In its final disposition, the Supreme Court ordered the immediate release of Jagdish Gond, if not required in any other case, underscoring the importance of upholding the principles of justice and ensuring that convictions are based on concrete evidence and sound legal reasoning. The case of Jagdish Gond versus the state of Chhattisgarh serves as a powerful reminder of the meticulous scrutiny required in criminal cases, the significance of the presumption of innocence, and the careful application of legal provisions. It underscores that even in the face of tragedy, the pursuit of truth must be guided by evidence and unwavering adherence to the principles